first one. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Definitely highly recommended it too. Like if you ever wanted to launch a crowdfund, so want to experiment that in the future. Definitely highly recommended it too. Like if you ever wanted to.
We also have a major Juicebox evangelist / ambassador here, Ernest of Gaia, who conducts workshops, who has conducted workshops previously on this channel.
Oh, really? Amazing. Oh, hope my little workshop doesn't fail the expectations.
Yeah, no, essentially what I'm doing is I basically build test campaigns. And so basically anybody in Bankless DAO that's a project, a media node interested in building a Juicebox campaign, I just turn it into a workshop using the testnet in the workshop. So, and I spent the whole like last half hour in the DAOLationships Guild channel, just kind of like bragging about how much I love Juicebox. And so I'm really trying to make an effort to get people to create test campaigns to see what they look like, to use Faucet, the Gorley Faucet, and to get people getting testnet ETH and participating in these testnet campaigns.
Oh, amazing! Yeah, that's a little bit of what I'll be trying to kind of do today. I don't know if we can get going. We give 2 more minutes. The idea will be going around in the city juice box and then building on that too.
And so I'll say we wait like a few more minutes, maybe 5 minutes, about 3 more minutes, was 5 after. Then we could like get started. A few more people pack up in here. Any other cool updates though that you got that's going on at DEF CON, Zoo?
Oh, DevCon's being crazy so far. Like so many things that I didn't know. I love when events are out of the main global potential areas. Like we were talking about making events in South America or in Africa. I love how you get to know projects that are local that you have never heard about because they're focused on some issues like, for example, here I've been meeting lots of projects that are like trying to leverage against inflation because that's a big thing here. Crypto is super powerful for that, but you don't see that as a big thing happening in Europe or the US. But in here, like they have a huge team and a lot of products, like amazing projects that I wouldn't count on already. It's been good.
Nice. I came across like one project that was tackling inflation. Well, I don't know exactly how they were going about handling inflation. It was called what's the name of it? So it was inflation list. Let me see if I can find it.
Wait, are you around Bogota too?
Is that?
Are you at that fund too?
No. Oh no, I'm not. Nope. No, unfortunately not, and I'm not at DEF CON this year. I'll start heading out to some events though next year for sure.
I think it's 1:35 here. 5 minutes after the moment we begin. It's okay if the tickets start going.
Yeah, yeah, we could kick it off now if you're ready.
Okay,
Whenever you're
perfect.
ready to show the screen.
Yeah, I'll bring the screen in a second. First of all, I just want to really thank you guys for the space. Like, I really, really like talking about Xbox. Really like helping people build new projects in there. This last few days here in Bogota for DevCon, I've been like going around helping people start new projects, and for that to happen, people have to know how this all works. Well, see a little bit of what they can do by themselves in it. So it's always good showing the tooling for anyone interested in this. I am Zoo. Uh, I've been in Juicebox now for about a year and 3 months, something around that. I'm a community builder focused mostly on launching new communities. So as people come to Juicebox, launch their projects, helping them figure out what that community should look like, what types of incentives of governance should they be building in there around that project for it to work well. And with that, being spinning lots of Juicebox projects is when it was a very simple thing, and now we have more tooling inside of that. You know, love to show you guys a little bit. I'm curious if any who in here like has like never used has used or never used Juicebox at all. If you can give me some voice feedback or chat or in the chat, both things are fine. Just love to know if we have more people that know or that don't know how Juicebox works. I'll assume I'll assume
Yeah.
that we're going from zero here, and I think that's probably the ideal. So let me bring up my screen, and well, a little bit about this video. Oh, okay, here we are. So for those of you who do not know, wait, are you seeing my screen? Can anybody drop a signal?
Yeah, I see it just
Okay,
fine.
perfect. So for those of you who don't know, Juicebox is a funding protocol. The idea is that it's a programmable funding protocol. So we're using Ethereum. It's smart money, and there is no good reason why we should not use smart treasury. Just letting your treasury be a multi-sig where you just put your money in and, well, go through all the trouble that is managing it manually. It's not worth it if you can, in an easy way, manage your treasury right on chain and in a programmable way. What this box allows you to do through its protocol varies a lot depending on what you want to do. Some examples that we have in here are like the biggest raises we had so far, like a $100 or Constitution or a single campaign. Let's raise money to do this one thing. Uh, these box raising mechanisms allows for that. MoonDAO, kind of similar with a one-time raise, but the way they use the token after that as governance, as a chance to get a ticket for a space. It's a crazy way to use what we created. And well, we also host our own treasury. So the Juicebox treasury is in Juicebox, and what it does is that it lets us experiment with all the parts of the protocol and find out where to improve and show off some of the craziest mechanics we got. Part of that makes this project here a good project to show you what Juicebox can do. So when you have a Juicebox project, the first thing that you have is the maybe the most important one, the possibility to raise money from your community, right? So let's say you want to get, I want to pay 2 ETH or I want to save 0.2 ETH into Juicebox DAO. I'll click the pay button here. It's called Add Juice. And what that does is that I'll receive an amount of tokens and that money goes to the treasury. This treasury is configured by a set of rules that are set on chain on the contracts here. That will be how this, like the definition on how this treasury works. So right now, Juicebox is on its cycle 32. The target is in a dollar amount. How much money will it be taking out of the treasury in the cycle? The cycle duration. Here are some dates, but the more specific mechanics and interesting data in here is a discount rate that defines how this rate here of tokens received will per each will decrease for the next cycle. So in this cycle, you get 0.5. If you get an amount of tokens, next cycle you get 0.5% less. We also use a thing called redemption rate. That is when I have tokens and I decide to manage my tokens for the Juicebox project and now redeem them for ETH. The redemption rate is what tells how much of the ETH value of those tokens can I get. So let's say I'll burn 1,700,000 JBX to redeem it for ETH. That amount will be reduced a little bit by this 8%, and the amount that is left out of this reduction is kind of distributed between the value of other tokens. So this incentivizes early adopters. This incentivizes diamond hands. After those mechanics that are for incentives, we have internal incentives. We have reserved JBX, reserved tokens of your project. In Juicebox, JBX is a token, and out of every single purchase, every single buy, every single payment, 50% of the tokens generated is sent here to the Multisig wallet that holds the project, to the DAO treasury. So the DAO gets the same amount of tokens that anyone that buys. So you, if you try to come on and buy 50% of all Juicebox tokens, well, you get 25%, and Juicebox will get the other 25%, and the DAO will choose how to distribute them. So what that creates is you can set that reserve rate for how much you want in your project. So it can be 0% or 100%. You can use that to play with the mechanics on your project, however you feel better about it, however it fits better your project. 50% in here is a model we've seen in some other projects. It's an idea of keeping the DAO in control of whatever happens inside its governance. So it can keep giving incentives, giving drops, or making specific bounties or contests using those tokens. So it incentivizes the community to be more of a builder community instead of only being a speculative. What we also have other configurations in here that are not, let's say, directly affecting how the tokens are minted. They are more affected if they are minted new tokens or not. So payments enabled, you can just stop your Juicebox project by disabling your payments. And token mint disabled, this means that the project owner cannot just come in here and mint new tokens by himself. You can make this possible. It might be interesting for your project that the DAO can choose to mint new tokens. For Juicebox, it's not in our best interest, so the token minting is disabled, but it's also an option to make new tokens. And last but not least, the reconfiguration strategy, which tells how can you reconfigure this. And this is essential, like this is a very strong thing to have. In Juicebox, we just use a 3-day delay, but you can have your own contract for this, telling what are the rules for a reconfiguration. Because all the power of being the owner of a Juicebox project is the power to change those settings. That's the only difference between an owner and any other user. The power to change this setting. The button to make payments, to distribute funds. This is the list of people who get money from Juicebox DAO that get paid by Juicebox DAO. Either only this cycle for a service or every cycle. This is the list. And what happens in here that this gets paid automatically as you distribute funds. Right now, there's $0 available because $375,000 have already been distributed this cycle. But if they hadn't been distributed yet, anyone could come in here and call this function on the contract, and this money would be sent to those addresses. As anyone can do this, the same way anyone can distribute the reserved JVFs, the reserved tokens from your project, that 50% I showed you before. So as anyone can call this, changing those settings is the only thing that the owner has special. The way that it's allowed to do that is by holding an NFT. Each Juicebox project, each one of the right now 912 Juicebox projects are an individual NFT. So you create a project, you get the NFT to your wallet, and that NFT is what's gonna let when you connect your wallet. That NFT is what's gonna let you come in here and edit how this project works. So if I come to my projects in here, well, what else can we do with this, right? There are some very interesting things coming out pretty soon, and I'll spoil them for you before we get in. So right now we're about to launch. It was on testnet. We just took it off because we're moving from RinkyTestNet to DAOLationships. The NFT rewards. The idea of having one here, two NFTs, telling you that if you pay over 0.2, over 0.4, or over 2 ETH, you get those NFTs in return. This can be used in numerous ways. Each project can use NFT for fun. So that can be your access for something. It can be your voting power. Anyway, one other cool thing on using projects on Juicebox in here that you might find interesting is Juicetool. Juicetool is a series of tools built by Juicebox contributors that lets you get some more things to do in here. So you get to access a snapshot plus that we built to get a little bit more data on governance, or if you want to reconfigure your project from when you're starting a new configuration and have an old one, see what's actually changing. There's lots of tooling here, like proposal creators and everything, for you to manage the governance around it. All pretty much adapted to work around the Juicebox project. But anyway, told you a lot of things. Hadn't started showing you how do we do it yet. So gonna get a jump to it. Just want to give out some space before if anybody has anything to ask on what I just went through. Feel free to speak up or to type. Else I'm going to jump into how do we do this.
I have a question. So for organization or DAOs to raise money, do they have to meet some compliance requirement?
Juicebox doesn't stop anyone from creating a Juicebox project. Depending on how you raise money, on what are you doing with the protocol, that might be or might not be a security. But Juicebox does not get involved with that side of the project. We build a protocol that lets you do the management of the money, distributions, token issuance, but it's permissionless. Anyone can just come in here and click launch your project and be ready to go. I would recommend taking a look on any kind of legal compliance necessities that you have when you're doing a project in there that's going to be raising money.
Thank you.
No
So I
problem.
didn't realize
That's actually one of the.
Constitution Go ahead.
Go on.
I was just saying, I wasn't aware that Constitution DAO used Juicebox for their crowdfund. Would you say Constitution Constitution DAO is what brought a lot of attention to Juicebox. Were they one of the first DAOs to utilize Juicebox for a crowdfund?
Yeah, I think so. At the moment they raised, they were like the biggest raise that ever happened. Assange DAO came later and that. I think we had some moments that were like on that progress. There was Shark DAO to buy Nows was the first one with like over 100 ETH raised. Then was Constitution, the first one was over 1,000 that went right. And there so lots of small moments that we've been through, all big moments actually when they're inside and seeing it happen. But yeah, all bringing different types of visibility inside. But most of those one-time projects, right? Since then, we have seen way more projects starting to build for the long term. Right now, I believe we have 3 or 4 awesome projects that are like not yet launched on Juicebox. They did everything on mainnet. They're ready. They're getting like legal side ready. They're getting all the other structures. So people are starting to use Juicebox in a more mature way now, as it integrates to more parts of the projects. And by the way, let's take a look on.
How did?
Go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, how would you say Juicebox went about attracting these DAOs to use Juicebox? Yeah, like how did you go about, getting your name out there and getting these huge projects to use Juicebox? Was there a lot of competitive projects back then? Was there any competition, or was Juicebox like one of the first major projects to be to create like a funding protocol or like streamlining payments?
I wouldn't say one of the first projects. I believe there were already projects around like how to fund. I think the one thing that this box kind of brings is like flexibility and very, very well built stuff that I I wouldn't put my hand in fire for other projects that I don't know. And I definitely don't know if they are bad either. Just in this box, like we make sure to do everything like trying to optimize it for gas, trying to make sure to the end, as much as you can. Of course, it's never 100% right, but auditing over and over contracts and building it like as we see necessity. So both for Constitution and for Shark DAO, they had some need that Juicebox wouldn't cover, and we're like, we're in here. We want to build, help people use this to do cool things. So many times people will come by and say, "Ooh, it almost does what I need." I'm like, yeah, let's make some improvements in here. Then let's make it get there. That's part of the magic that I see in there. But yeah, we don't really do a lot of marketing. We started recently. Like we have now a podcast, blog, but the marketing of Juicebox has always been in our mind. Like build it build it very well, and people who want to build good things will know how to like find us, how to look at that. Like, of course, we have our own networks. That goes a long way. A good project brings another. One, yeah. We kind of like try to make it easy for the projects to do good stuff, because when they do good stuff, that's where we get visibility from. So our focus is always like improving quality of life, protocol quality for the project. Curious if there are any funding model templates that map to Juicebox parameters. Oh, curious. I don't think there are any, but that could be something curious to see. I'm not sure exactly what you're imagining.
Oh, I was just thinking, where I'm looking at all these ways you can set the variables for how you would structure it for, team members and payout allocation, time release kind of thing, where all those things where you could model, because, we can do it on a testnet and stuff, and you can kind of play around with the numbers. But unless you're going into it, trying to design something that incensed the way you want to. I mean, how do you model that unless you just mess with it and then see what happens? I kind of, you know what I mean? You know, a spreadsheet
Yeah.
where you can have variables in there and just say, okay, what if I change the percentages, or what if I change the lockup period, or what if I change this or that, and then see what the outcome is, and have it run a you know, time series extrapolation or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to give trying to give something that would visualize what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, during the builder of the project, when you're about to launch a new project, you can see, but you can only see the launch stage, right? You cannot make a progression on top of it and see how that will go. I am a Google Sheets freak, like addict. So I do love the idea. I'm not sure how far it goes into making it easier to understand, but
Right.
let me jump into the project creation here, because I mean, I love the idea, but I might be biased, you know.
Yeah, because you know, I've seen the Juicebox UI a few times now, and I'm looking. It's like, okay, there's all these cool parameters, and I love that you can really build this the way you want. But it's like, I don't, you know, you got a box of you got a box of Legos or whatever, or whatever you got, and it's like, okay, I don't know how the pieces should fit together to make the flying machine, you know.
Yeah, well, I've been working with templating Juicebox, but not in that sense. Uh, let's I promise let's know before I jump in, guys. I'll start building a project with you guys in 1 second. We're starting to work on some templating, but for like specific models. So you want to build a Juicebox ticketing system for your events, or do you want to build a Juicebox for refi for this side? We're starting to get some templating for this, but still a little bit of road to cover to get there. It's an old idea, but it was lacking some essential pieces of the protocol that we really wanted. And now we're getting there. The rewards should be out soon on mainnet, and that will allow us to have way more types of templates. Without further ado, let's show you what we need to do and how do we create a Juicebox project. First thing, I don't know if you guys saw, but like you're in here, juicebox.money. It's launcher project, big blue button, anything that shines on that screen. I'm not gonna be doing it here. I'm gonna be doing it on the testnet. It's scorely.juicebox.money. Uh, it's not exactly at the same state right now because in Juicebox in Gorley we're starting to test v3. So if you come to any of the projects here and you click it, you see it's v3. Yeah, alpha v3 is on testing. But for now, Juicebox on mainnet is still v2. So there might be some differences. There might be some bugs halfway through the process. If you find bugs, great. If you found bugs, we report to the devs and we improve the protocol. But I believe it should be fine. First thing you want to do when you start your Juicebox project is looking at your project details, knowing like what you're gonna bring in here. You can change this later, but anytime you edit your project, you pay gas to submit it to mainnet. So if you're okay with gas, whatever, do it. And after you update it, if you want to make sure you're making a launch with everything ready, give attention here, else you're gonna have to pay to change it afterwards. So it's the bankless. Now workshop. Make custom projects. I'll don't know what kind of thing is the logo of that. Oh, I don't know if you guys know, but this beautiful creature that you can see all around is Benny, the banana boy. He's the one who actually runs Juicebox, CEO, president, founder, and animal spirit, fruit spirit of all of us contributors. Uh, there's a lot of awesome art on Benny by Sage Callen, one of the, and I think some other people too, but I think it's mostly Sage on Juicebox DAO. If you love a bananas milk jar, I totally recommend reading things that are coming out, stories on him, the many verses that's spamming. After you set the basics here up, website, Twitter handle, Discord link. None of those are verified yet. Like you cannot for example. So put your Twitter handle here and go in your Twitter to verify that. So if you're looking at Juicebox and you see a Twitter handle in a project, make sure to verify by yourself. Remember, all projects in here are permissionless. So not just because I don't know, Vitalik Twitter is in here that he don't own the project and that kind of stuff. In Vitalik's case, it sounds obvious. It's not always for any case obvious. So remember that this is a permissionless protocol when you're using it. Then we have some customizations. You can call your pay button however you like. Keep names. And pay disclosures, especially when you're working with some legal incorporation, when you're like working close to what might be you think this might be a security, and you are doing ways to go around it, you're giving self preventions, you're not, uh, I don't know, you're using particular token contract to avoid behaviors that could make it a security. Anything that you're doing that your users definitely should know before they buy, before they pay. You have an area here. It's big enough. I believe it's do it. Here we just want to have fun. That's our disclosure. And then we actually get to the important part here. The funding cycles of these spots are the sole Juicebox project. Juicebox treasury is configured in three parts. Those parts being the funding, the tokens, and the rules. And they are funded all in cycle. We started funding, and funding is where you define if you have automated funding cycles or not. I normally recommend doing so first project so you can understand the mechanics of that. Uh, it's your testnet. I would like make a project in testnet with a 1 hour funding cycle to experiment. Normally, when actually launching a project on mainnet, sometimes you want to test the idea, see how it goes. Maybe you don't want to have any funding cycle, just the first, any automated funding cycle, just a long first cycle that lasts until you got enough money to be sure, like, yes, we have support in here, we can build this thing, then start having cycles on top, new cycles on top. I'll use funding cycles because it lets me show more examples. So let's have a 5 minutes funding cycle. The payouts is still on the funding part in here. This is where you decide how you're gonna pay. So you can do that by amounts or percentages. That really is something that's gonna vary from project to project. What are you doing? So in Juicebox, for example, Juicebox DAO, we use amounts. Every contributor proposes to get an amount, or every partner DAO, like Bill, proposes in the DAO to have an amount paid to them every cycle. So we do use amounts in here, and you can add recipients to each of those amounts. A recipient can be a wallet address, somebody you pay, davidtally.eth, $10. And when you're paying somebody, you can select a lock date. You can lock this for, well, how long you want. It's a good way to give trust somebody who's going to be putting a job on. So, well, you're going to be Vitalik, I'm going to give you dollars every 5 minutes, like this, until a certain date. That's on chain. I'm not going to be able to change it. How I pay out. If I want to use percentages instead, it works the same manner. But I'm going to make a new one here just to show you. You can also use pay to a Juicebox project. So if I'll put the ID 13 here, I have to put a token beneficiary. So when when this payment gets made, where what address should receive the tokens that will be minted from it, set the percentage, block date, all the same thing. The main difference between into paying to a project or paying to a wallet address is that to a project you do not pay fees. When you're paying a wallet address, there's a 2.5 fee on top of all the money you withdraw. that is set as a token purchase. So you get JBFs in return, but you pay 2.5% of the money you withdraw. If it's inside the ecosystem, it's going to another Juicebox project that is not part of it. When I decide to change from percentages to amounts, I have to set up what's going to be the amount, the sum of our amounts, right? So it turns the percentages back into amounts. The other way around is not needed, but when I go this way, it does. Okay. So, pick your poison, and you have a funding strategy. Now, time to look at how you're going to manage tokens around it. In Juicebox, it's not mandatory for you to issue ERC20 tokens. You can have tokens that are not ERC20 by default. They are project tokens that inside our contracts being tracked, and they can be used for guild, for accessing. So you don't have to actually pay gas for ERC20. You don't have to issue a new ERC20. It doesn't have to be tradable at all outside of the project. So you can do it with or without ERC20s. It also works for snapshot. Okay, you can use like the Juicebox contract call for snapshot without issuing the tokens. But you can issue the tokens also. How you configure in here is that you start choosing what are gonna be your initial mint rate per ETH. You choose if you're gonna reserve a percentage of the tokens. So let's say we'll reserve 10% of the tokens. So of all the purchases, when somebody pays 1 ETH, they are gonna generate 69420 tokens, and they are going to get to their wallets or to their wallet designation 62478, and will be a 10% reserve. And we can start with that reserve. And again, John is a good guy. He takes nice pictures. Let's give him a percentage of that. So we're gonna give Vitalik 50% of that allocation. I'm actually not gonna lock. I don't think he can lock. This is not that important. I don't know if the guy's gonna keep doing good stuff. Let's keep it partial. And I'll add token allocation. So now he's getting 50% of this allocated to him. This is not based on cycles. This is based on any payment that is made, a reserve rate is generated and collected into the DAO, into the contract, and 50% of that is waiting for someone to distribute. That money comes in here. This is a Juicebox project. This is the reserve rate. And here on the bottom is how much JBS right now saved to be distributed. And this button is public. I can click it and distribute right now. Let's send token to people. That will cost me $20 in gas to distribute tokens to 14,000 people. And there it goes. Public button, distribution happens. Same thing in here. It will go to the Vitalik.if +% you can use that for many types of initiatives organized, many types of returns to early partners, things like this. It's a very interesting mechanic to build a network or partnerships around business. It's an on-chain business model. Then after that, reserved rate. After the reserved tokens, the reserved rate, we're talking about discount rate. This is how your token price, this number in here, will change from cycle to cycle. It's a good way to encourage your community that believes in you early to get in there, put some money, you believe this project, come on, let's do this. Here's some advantage for you. So in this case, every 5 minutes, but let's say it's every 5 days. Every 5 days, our token will get 10% more expensive. So maybe you should get in early, whatever part of it. Or maybe it's 5 minutes, and it's 0. It's 0. Oh, 0.00. I don't know how many does it take, but let's say 0.05. I'll try to put some 0.05% decrease own issuance rate from cycle to cycle. Every 5 minutes, you have to pay more if you get the same amount. Getting early, get advantages. You were here from the beginning, you have more governance power. You were here from the beginning, you get more return on whatever you're investing on. Depends on how you want to use it, depends on your legal model, your governance model. And then the redemption rate. Redemption rate is how your money is going to come out. You can see here in the Juicebox Treasury that we have of total volume that we raised. We have an amount of what's right now in Juicebox, and we have a distribution number. Everything that's in here is 2,000,067. This number. Everything in here minus this part is what we call the overflow. There's what we distribute, and there's the overflow. The overflow is the redeemable part. Is what your token holders can come and say, hey, I believed your project, but now I don't anymore. I want my percentage back. Or they can come and say, oh, I do believe your project, but I have health issues and I need to deal with them right now. So you can manage your tokens and you can redeem your tokens for ETH. What it does is it takes a percentage of tokens you own, takes a percentage of the same percentage of the overflow, and that's the ETH that you get back for it. How you work this line is the redemption rate. So when the redemption rate is 100%, all tokens will have equal value, regardless of when. But when it's not 100%, it will go changing. It'll, as the smaller it is, the smaller amount you will get when you're born in the first moment, unless you have 100%. So let's say we're 3 people in here. We all put $10. We have a 50% redemption rate. When I'm the first one to burn my tokens, to redeem my tokens, to get ETH back, I'm only going to get 50% of that value. The other 50% stays on the treasury. And the other 2 people who were with me that also put $10, they now have the right to $15. And the second guy is going to go and going to burn it. But that's how it progresses. I think I messed the numbers somewhere around there. Try to use small number for it to be easy, but anyway, the redemption rate is the diamond agents and advisory. After we save this, we have rules to set. That's how we can decide if payments are enabled or not. Are they happening? Is the project running to take new payments? Allow token minting so the project owner can manually get tokens. Maybe have a free allocation. Maybe have some utility that will need that. And terminal configuration for you to set your own payment terminals. The payment terminals are the contracts that make the circulation. I really am not the most savvy person on this stack part. I have never used it. I don't think many people have. It's something that came out on V2. It's being worked on by some projects, and I'm still yet to see some new things in here. If you are one that thinks that making this kind of part is fun, making extensions to a project, making new contracts to interact with the contracts, I'd super recommend you go into Juicebox DAO server in the protocol area and see what's on fire in there. And last but not least, reconfiguration rules. No strategy will let you reconfigure at any point. 3-day delay. The reconfiguration is always for the next cycle. Okay? So if the cycle is 14 days and you reconfigure, it doesn't change the current cycle, changes the next one. You can add an extra delay. So 3 days before the start of the cycle, the next cycle, 7 days, or whatever contract that you want to create to define the rules for this. There we have it, a Juicebox project where you can review what's on, see all that you created, what are your rules, and well, deploy it to your lead. I have to change the network here. Where is Gurley? You don't have Gurley in this computer. I will not be able to deploy this one in here because I do not have barely added in this computer. Oh, it just happened. Oh yeah, this is it for me. Okay. Nice. This is new. It's change network on the bottom. A cool part of being on Juicebox is always seeing it change very quickly as devs find that they need to do something new. It's amazing. Just love to see. And with that, we have it live. Before jumping for a few more minutes on managing the project itself, that I want to show you some things that are in there interesting. Want to stop again because I know I do talk a lot and I do deviate from topic also. So let me know anything on your mind.
This looks really cool though. I definitely want to test this out with it'd be nice if a few guilds to set up their whole multi-sig process, their payment process with Juicebox. That way you don't have to wait for people to sign, multiple people to sign off on transactions. Just streamline it.
Yeah, just do the multi-sig once, but you do all the signing once, and then it's set, it's configured, and it's just gonna roll out every 14 days and chain and do this. Yeah, it's a good feel.
Yeah, no, that's really nice.
I see there are some things on the chat here. Is there funding from Juicebox for educational building and testing workshops? Or I could create it for it. I don't think there is any specific funding for this. There are some initiatives inside JP for education. Uh, by the way, our info.juicebox.money is a kind of very cool website, actually. It's our new version of Docs. We took our Docs and put it in here. But there's where you have from technical to DAO to blog to DAO foundations and values. Like it's all in there. There are people building the podcast. So that's it's not exactly a grant because it's not another project. There are people that have proposed in the governance a recurring payout to work at that. But we have been giving some grants lately to projects that are related or close by. So you normally if you're going for a grant into something in the JV ecosystem, it's probably easier to have that project as a Juicebox project too. Like make a Juicebox version there because it just makes life way easier for everyone interacting. And let me know if you want to do that. I'd love to look into that. What else we have here? Yeah, Salman needs a job. He needs a job, but he got the emojis. Yeah, Juicebox server has some very ones. Totally recommend.
Yeah, awesome emojis. Thank you for that.
If I was a project in Bengals DAO that's subDAOing, I would link governance tokens based on the amount of ETH raised. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I work with voice or text at once, so I have to go slowly through this. Users who can sell NFTs on OpenSea and use the JB Project Treasury as the receiver of the tokens of the NFT. So yes, you can. I'm gonna show that in a second, because that's part of the project managing after it's launched. Nice. Okay, yeah, I think that's what was in the chat. Anybody has any other question, or can I jump in the next part? Okay, I'm jumping. Here we just launched the project, right? So project launch is fast. There are some things you can do now, right after we did that. For the one that you asked, Gaia, Ernest Gaia, there is create a payment address. You can create an Ethereum address that is a payment to your project. So you can do that to get your OpenSea NFTs having the revenue coming in here. There is another option on how to get your proceeds from an NFT in here. without using OpenSea, because it's not exactly the best NFT contract you find. And I think Tile is the best example of that. In Tile, they sell NFTs, but when you mint it, the art is this one, but it's based on a wallet address. So let's say I come here. I'll get one of your. There's a wallet here in the chat. I'm gonna get your wallet here. Pina. I think the person is gone, but I'm just gonna paste his wallet, their wallet here. It generates art based on that string. It changes as you change the numbers in here, and then you mint it. With I have to be connected for that. And when you mint it, what it creates is a payment here. So minted tile with this address, the money comes inside the project. That's a way they did the tile contract itself, but probably way better than minting the NFTs right on OpenSea. If you'd like to use a ready to mint platform, I definitely recommend Third Web with an option. Oh, there's some awesome ones that I can't remember the name, but if you just read about it, definitely gonna find a lot of awesome options. I really would not recommend OpenSea for minting NFTs. Their NFT contract is shared, so if you are not using like the recognition of your collection as a single collection doesn't really exist on chain. It's all part of the OpenSea huge mega collection. That's like it's not healthy long term for a project. Yeah. I don't know if you guys know that, but maybe I'm just switching to people who already know. I can't really remember the name. There's Third Web. Like Third Web is like it's not exactly just for NFTs. It's build Web3 apps. Uh, but it lets you like deploy the contract working on here. So you have like contracts that are ready. So you want to make an NFT drop, a marketplace. You create like your own contract, which is way more expensive than using OpenSea because OpenSea is free. But then you can do it through here. But there's some other ones that are cheap too, and I just can't remember their names. I'm sorry. I'll try to bring those on chat after. Can I bring them then through you, Jared or Ernest? And I mean, you might try to spread it in here. There's Zora
Yeah,
too, but I don't know. Not sure if Zora will save the day for this one. It's not exactly as direct to the point. Anyways, some other options, you can create a payment address. This here can be used for you to both like get payments from an OpenSea or another contract. But can also be useful if you're trying to maybe integrate Juicebox into something more, I don't know, real life, and you want to get payments in here through a QR code maybe that generates a payment ask, or if you just want to, well, put the payments to your Juicebox project inside another contract. Like that's it. A contract will not come into your interface and interact. So you need a straight way to it. And maybe you don't want like you just want to like add the pay address, not have to call the functions of the Juicebox contracts. Makes it easier in here. By default, you have your project tokens, but they are not ERC20 by standard. You can create them as ERC20 by standard, which will let you do things like when you're managing this. So you're here, you're managing your tokens. You'll be able to claim them to your wallet outside of Juicebox. That kind of possibility. Or you can set up project handle. That is setting an ENS handle. That is your project name. That's what's going to show up here on your top bar on your browser. Else, it is a project name number, right? So here you're looking at skills to blockchain. It's Juicebox 44561. And in Juicebox 1, here it's just Juicebox because you can set ENS handle for that and add it in there. There are some other things you can do when you're managing a project as an owner. So you have general that is just changing your structure. You can change your fundings. All those things we did before. Move in here. add and remove payouts, add these reserved tokens, transfer ownership. Maybe you started that project by now it's a DAO, and they don't really feel like the rest of the community doesn't really feel like you should be the sole holders that can do anything here. Maybe you should put that on a multi-sig. It's not only more trustworthy, it's also more safe. So maybe you want to transfer that ownership. Maybe the project never took off. Maybe you don't want to do it anymore. You just archive it. And governance, this is pretty much alpha. This is to come. This is not working yet. That doesn't exist on mainnet one. But it's there are things are cooking soon. I hope. And there you have it. You have a Juicebox project that's deployed to DAOLationships. You can play around. That's how it works. When you're making payments, you can always sorry guys. You can always add a little memo just to say for the future. And I don't know, if you don't have anything to say, you might just choose one of our banning stickers that are around. My favorite one, I gotta say, it's not the banning, it's the friends. It looks super cute. We can let the tokens. When you pay, you get tokens, but you might want to donate your tokens to Vitalik for some reason. I don't know. Let's spam his wallet. Yeah, that's a little bit of how you make the payment in here. This option generates some very interesting stuff. If you're in Juice to I would not remember. We have a Dune dashboard. All the comments on memos ever made. You find some very interesting things. We have lots of Dunes in Juicebox that are usable for your project. So if you make a Juicebox project and you want to analyze the data on that, you don't have to do it from the beginning. There's this Juicebox project dashboard where you can choose like what's the project you want to see, and you see the data for it. If you put a name of a project that exists. So let me put domain DAO, for example. Let's see domain DAO, how much they raised, how much was the US, the DAO evaluation, holders, treasury, like all of that data just ready for you. And well, lots of small things around the protocol that makes it fun to play with, beyond the fact that it's super useful to have a treasury that's a business model on chain by itself. That's a little bit of what I had to tell on this one. If anyone has new questions, I think it's a spot for too long.
So I want to confirm that for the redistribution for all the money or ETH raised, is the project owner can the project owner set the use the votes result from the community to decide whether redistribute or not, or it must be decided by the owner itself?
Anything that is changed, anything on the project is made by the owner. But the owner is not a given wallet or a given person. The owner is whatever it is that holds the token, the NFT of the project. So what you can do, for example, is put that NFT in a contract. Give ownership of the NFT to a contract that's a government contract. Or you can put the NFT on a multi-sig, where all the members of the multi-sig agree to follow what's chosen on the snapshot votes. So Juicebox right now, it does not give you, and I don't know if it ever will, but I'd like to see that, but I don't know if it will. It does not give you a direct community governance over the treasury. It gives the community, it makes a community treasury, and it makes an NFT that can control that. How you integrate that NFT ownership into governance, that changes from project to project. I've done that in lots of different ways so far.
Thank you. One more question. So, besides the fees for Juicebox collecting from the mini process, the fundraising process, is there any other revenue stream you have?
No, Juicebox runs on the fees. Right now, actually, we run on anyone can go to our Juicebox project and make a payment. If I come in here and make a payment here, that goes into Juicebox Treasury. So there has been lots of payments in this, people that think it makes sense, but mostly right now you see here on the bar. Yeah, in this interface you can see like lots of data too, right? I didn't go through it because you can now just see and explore without much knowledge of what's in there. But you can see like the volume you ever had, what's the volume in your juice box, change the period you're seeing for this. There's when you're buying a token in here, when you're making a payment to get tokens, if you put your mouse here right below it, you have the price of the same token on the the secondary markets. So Uniswap right now, it's worth about almost like 15 times cheaper than buying new tokens here. Uh, so it does make sense to buy on Uniswap right now instead of in Juicebox directly, the Juicebox token. But you can see here on the activity, if you choose like paid, choose paid, you can see that all the latest payments are fees from some projects, right? There's then one in here that someone actually came in here and paid, so wanted to get Juicebox tokens. You'll see most of those are normally fees. If you go way down the past in the beginning, most of those were people paying, but it changed like about 6-7 months ago. It started becoming more and more free.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Guys, if we don't have any more questions, just want to thank you all for coming. Uh, I, I know I drift a little bit. Thank you for being patient with drifting. I hope it's an interesting drifting because I go around because I think it will be useful. Uh, so hope it was. And well, I hope to see you guys around Juicebox server. Gonna drop the links around the chat. And yeah, we're always there. It's a builder server, it's a builder community. From time to time, you'll find a hack or a challenge going on. The community is always building around itself, so everyone's invited to come and see. We have every Tuesday, 10 p.m. UTC. We have our town house. They're probably the most fun town house you see around. I don't know how. We have some intro music. We have some games in the end to get everyone more closer to each other. It's a nice environment to be with people who love what they're building. Great to see that Bankless DAO, that is also one of the communities I admire for that kind of stuff. Is we're in here talking a little bit about it. Good to build those bridges, and I'll see you guys around.
Thanks, Zoo, for an amazing demo. And when is that townhouse again? You mentioned it was at 10 UTC, but I forgot the day.
Tuesdays 10 UTC.
Tuesdays 10 UTC. All right, perfect. Yeah, thank you for a great demo, and yeah, let's stay in touch.
Yeah, sure. Ernest, if you're trying to get the G Studios, let me. I'll create a chat with the two of you. Have you talked to Saeed already? Yeah, it's awesome. Guys, I'm a hop because DevCon is happening right now. And I'm at a cafe to give this workshop, so I'm gonna hop back into the venue. Hope to see some bankless DAO people in there, and see you guys soon. I'm in yeah. Yeah, yeah. Steve was there with us. Been seeing him every day. Yeah. Okay, I will. Guys, thanks so much, Ernest. Thanks so much for the interaction. Jarvis for the invite. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.
All right, see you soon. All right, thank you.
See you.
All right, guys, about to hop to. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming out to the demo, and yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day.
All right, thank you, everyone. All right, see you later.